Well, we're back. For those of you who listened to all the first 13 episodes of All About Hinduism, or even just listened to one of them, follow the show and now it's been sitting there at the bottom of your podcast player for the better part of 2 years, the wait is over. And thank you for sticking with me through a much longer than planned for hiatus. And if you're coming to All About Hinduism for the first time with this episode, welcome. Over the next batch of episodes, we're going to be going deeper into all things Hinduism. Why the way we talk about Hinduism both in the West and in India probably needs to change. Why do colonial ideas and stereotypes about this tradition still dominate the minds of both Hindus and non-Hindus alike? How Hindus worship, and why the word worship might not be the best way to describe how Hindus relate to the divine. Who Hindus worship. Yes, we're finally getting to the many ways the divine exists. We'll be talking about Hindu holidays and festivals. Yeah, there are a lot of them. What are the main sects and lineages within the field of Hindu dharmas, and how do they relate to one another? What's the difference between a guru, a monk, and a priest? Yoga, more yoga, the many ways to practice yoga, most of which don't involve downward dog or hand balancing or headstands. Plus, the traditional third nature framework for sexual expression, and the line between cultural appreciation and cultural appropriation, and maybe how that's not always the best way to be thinking about intercultural relations. In doing that, the format of the show is changing up a bit. Series 1 was written and meant to be listened to chronologically. You can skip around and still get something from it, but the intent was to take listeners on a journey from one episode to the next. For this next batch, each episode will be written so that it can stand entirely on its own and be listened to out of sequence. As such, there are no formal episode numbers for this series, though if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, they may well put in one themselves, even though they don't have one from our end. And if you're listening to this on YouTube, you can ignore this parenthetical aside entirely. All that said, I hope you'll stick around with me for another series. I think it's going to be good. I'm Matt McDermott, and this is All About Hinduism.